Alrighty, so today we're going to be talking all about points of view, which is one of the literary elements. I said that I'd be making a video just about the different types of points of view because this can be kind of confusing. So hopefully, using cute little animations like this young lady right here, it can be cleared up and you'll be able to get this right all the time. So, most important question, why should you care? Point of view is one of the literary elements. Those literary elements are character, plot, setting, point of view, and theme. Point of view is the angle from which the story is told. Understanding point of view will enhance your overall comprehension and enjoyment of a story. So if you don't know who's telling the story, it's going to be kind of hard for you to understand it. Or if you don't know how the author is telling the story to you, it will also be hard for you to understand it. So that's why I'm really excited to be sharing this lesson, because once you understand point of view, it'll help you with a lot of other things when you are reading. All right, so get the notes out of the way first. I'm going to move my face out of the way. Boop. Go ahead and get these notes out of the way first. Pause the slide. Write all these down so that you have them for future reference. When you're ready, hit play and resume the rest of the show. Remember, make sure you actually watch the show instead of just stopping on the notes, because it will help you understand. Just scribbling down these notes, it's not going to help as much as actually listening to the rest of this, okay? So don't stop here. All right, which point of view? So this is Michaela. Michaela wants to write a novel. She's a smart young lady. She is right now in the pre-writing stage. So that means she hasn't actually started writing anything yet, but she's trying to plan out that story. She already knows her basic plot, her characters, and her setting. And right now she's trying to choose a point of view, and you guys are going to help her. So first, she thought she would write it in first person. Michaela is writing a science fiction story about aliens, and there is a hero girl who is fighting the aliens. So when she writes in first person, Michaela thought, well, I will pretend I am my heroine, who she's also naming Michaela. Captain Michaela. So for this story, she will pretend that she is Captain Michaela. And when she's telling the story, she will use a lot of I. I was so scared when I came up to the aliens. I didn't know what to do. So Michaela would write as Captain Michaela. Here she is, saying what she says, thinking her thoughts. Now, for a different kind of story, Michaela thought, what if I wrote in first person, but I pretended I was one of the aliens, trying to capture Captain Michaela? What if I was Alien Mickey, and I pretended to be him, and wrote as him? There are so many wonderful stories where the author takes on, inside his or her head, the role of the monster. So the author pretends to actually be, dare I say it, the vampire, like in a certain YA series that we will not mention, right? Some people make a lot of money doing that. So Michaela, as she's trying to determine this, is thinking, well, if I do first person, should I do my heroine, Captain Michaela, or should I pretend that I'm the alien? Another choice would be third person. Third person means that Michaela is not pretending to be inside their heads. Instead, Michaela is telling the story outside of their heads. She is talking about them. She is a writer writing about her topics outside of that story. She's not in their heads. So when she's talking about Captain Michaela or her aliens, she's using a lot of he, she, they. Okay? If it's just straight third person, we don't know what Michaela is thinking. Just straight third person is not going to include any character thoughts at all. She saw the alien. She was standing up straight. The alien gave a peace sign. When I'm narrating like that, I'm not saying what they're thinking. We don't know what the alien's thinking either. Now, in third person limited, Michaela is still not in their heads. But in third person limited, Michaela is telling the thoughts of one character, just one. One character at a time. Sometimes it might switch from chapter to chapter, but that's super complicated, so forget I said that. In third person limited, you know the thoughts of one character. Even though Michaela isn't pretending to be Captain Michaela, she knows Captain Michaela's thoughts. So in this scene, she might say, Captain Michaela stood up straight. She knew that if she projected an error of confidence, the alien might be confused and think that she was actually in control of the situation. So Michaela knows what's going on in her head and relays it to the reader. We don't know what's going on in the alien's head, so it still just says the alien held up a peace sign. Okay, well, we have no idea what's happening in his head. If it's third person omniscient, this can get cool. This is when Michaela is still not writing as one of these guys, but she knows all of their thoughts. So she can tell the reader what every one of them is thinking. So something like, Captain Michaela stood up straight. She knew that if she projected an error of confidence, the aliens might be convinced that she was in control of the situation. Both of the aliens flashed peace signs. They knew that the Earthlings believed that this was a sign for peace, so they held it up, hoping that it would trick Captain Michaela. So I'm telling you what all of these characters think. Even though I'm not pretending to be them. I'm not saying I. I would be first person, okay? Second person is totally different. So, you know, we just talked about, oh, now it's going to do all this mess. First person, third person limited, and third person omniscient are all good for narratives, for telling stories. Second person's totally different. So forget that we are telling a story about Captain Michaela. Forget the aliens, forget all that stuff. We're just going to talk about second person for a second, okay? Second person is when Michaela is talking directly to you. She is talking to the reader. She's writing something about the reader. So maybe Michaela decides, you know what? I don't want to write a story. I want to write something that's more informational. I want to write something to readers about how to not get abducted by aliens by Michaela. So she is giving instructions to her readers on how to avoid an alien abduction, which, you know, maybe you might need that someday. Hopefully not. Just kidding. All right. So, that was a lot of information. So that's why it's important to practice. When you're given a whole bunch of information, you can't just like, you know, gloss over it because then it will flutter away out of your brain. So you need to actually practice. That's what we're going to do right now. Pause this slide. Take your skill check. This is based on Ms. Pranger and her bunny because I love Ms. Pranger and I love her bunny and I wanted to write about them. So make sure that you reach out to me if you have any questions. This can't get confusing. Just take your time. I know you can do it. You are super smart. Until next time.